Is a demonstration of our AI assistant alert triage capabilities within Arcanna. We'll go ahead and select a use case that has EDR alerts that have already been triaged by Arcanna based on learning from the user who initially gave feedback. And we have some new alerts that are listed as investigate. What we'll do is select one and go to AI investigation. And what's going on right now is it's going to do an initial analysis of this alert and give us some information that will help us to decide what to do next. We can see that it's spitting out quite a bit of useful information here and recommends some things that we might want to do next. In this case, I'm not sure if I have enough information yet, so what I want to do is apply one of the pre-built Arcanna narratives. We can open the narratives menu, and what we'll do is currently filter it to a particular author and a particular type of alert, investigation narrative. And what we'll do over here is go ahead and apply that to the alert. Now, this is going to go ahead and do analysis. And while that's going, I wanted to show what this looks like. So we'll do an initial analysis. We'll decide whether or not we want to continue based on what Arcanna has already decided, because if Arcanna has already decided that it's not particularly interesting, we'll go ahead and stop. Our goal is to only collect enough information to make a decision as to whether or not this is actually a real full-blown attack or not. So we're not going to go ahead and try and scour the earth and collect everything, but rather collect just enough information to make a better decision on this. We also want to collect information from related activity around this particular alert. So if there are other host-based TTPs associated with it, we'll go ahead and do that. If we see any other host-based activity in a similar time, very close to that time period, we'll go ahead and collect that information. And then finally, if we see artifact related time, this is where we're actually very tightly ranging, because the other ones we want to be a little bit more broad, because attacks don't happen neatly in a tiny amount of time. We'll also potentially collect indicators and do some analysis on them. We're not specifying what exactly the analysis is, but that we should do some analysis. Finally, collecting the attack chain and understanding, is it actually a real attack or not? At the end, we'll go ahead and write a report, and we'll aim to include a summary, a timeline, related alerts that you might want to go ahead and put back into Arcanna as feedback, so that we can make better decisions on more of the alerts rather than just this one. And as you may have seen as we were going, those different steps were happening, and what we can see here is that we're about to complete the creation of that report. So let's go ahead and pivot back over to that, and we can go ahead and click on it and see that we are creating that report right now. So that will continue to generate, but we can see, we collected 10 alerts, and from that we've identified that they're all coming from the same host, they're all coming from the same user account, they're all happening within about an hour and 20 minutes. They seem to show activity that looks like a red team framework. We've seen several MITRE attack tactics. So we've seen defense evasion, exfiltration, and execution. And the initial assumption is that this is controlled security testing activity rather than an actual attack. Now, if this were a real attack, we could go ahead and point that out, right? We can help the model to better identify that these are, in fact, malicious activities. But we can go ahead and see the full report here. We've got the executive summary. We see exfiltration test. Now, it did an analysis and decided that it was a test exfiltration rather than a real exfiltration. It did also note that there is a malicious reputation for this fake version of accesscheck.exe. And the model does highlight that it would pose significant threats if this were performed by an unauthorized actor. And then, appropriately making sure that this is an authorized security testing. Security testing. We can see that report was completely generated. We can see in order that last we see data exfiltration. And we can see what are some of the other alerts. In this case, we can see what Arcanna decided and how confident it was, and what the assistant decided, and if they differ, why they differ. This is really useful for making sure you make the right decisions on your data. And we can also go ahead and download this report and look at it in a bigger window and include it in a security case, for example, at the end. This functionality can also be customized in case you would like to do something different or would like a particular format for your report.